So we're going to kick off with this question from Ryan in Tooting, who asks, it seems AI is having a genuine effect on the jobs market, but the Labour government only seems to want to talk about the positives. Why aren't politicians talking about this very real threat? It seems like a missed opportunity. Now, politicians generally prefer talking about the positives rather than the negatives. But Andrew, you've written about AI.
This is such a great question.
Go on.
Can I answer it in the course of about an hour? Because there's so much to say. First of all, he's absolutely right. There is a thing in government at the moment, and it's the influence of the Tony Blair Institute, to which every problem can be solved by AI. And at the government away day at Chequers last weekend, it was AI, and it's become the far too easy, far too glib go-to answer to everything. There are problems in the NHS with output and efficiency, AI. There are problems in our education system, AI. The government itself isn't working properly at the centre, AI. So that, it's become, I think the questioner is absolutely right, it's become too easy and too glib. Meanwhile, AI is causing all sorts of really serious effects on our society and our economy. Two things. I was writing this week about what Elon Musk has called the mimetic battlefield, which is the fact that we have this conversation in places like this about economics and statistics and numbers and legislation. Down around us in the country, everywhere, people are watching unbelievably violent, racist videos, anti-Jew, anti-Muslim, anti-black, anti-woman, designed to make us hate each other. It's kind of a heroin going into the brain, and it's entirely intentional, designed to turn communities against each other and turn us into a low-trust society. And yes, I'm quite sure the Russians are involved in helping that. But also, AI makes that much, much easier. If I want to show a video of, a black man walks into the street, punches a white woman, and is in turn attacked by a white man, the hero of the narrative, I can do that by, splicing together bits of films that I've acquired from the internet or taken myself, whatever. But it's much, much easier to do it, and it can be made much more convincing using AI tools, which will soon be on everybody's laptop. So this is getting worse, not better. First point. Second point, I was talking to James Ramagasuriam of Focal Data, and they have done a really interesting study, which is that they've looked at the 10 job areas most likely to be destroyed very, very quickly, early on by AI. And they're things like data analysts and all sorts of management consultancy type jobs. And those are the ones where particularly younger people coming out of university might have hoped a few years ago to get a good start at a decent salary in life. Now, those kind of job offers are down 30% in 1 year alone, people coming out of university. It's having a massive effect. But what James and Focal Data then did was they then mapped those job areas, the ones where the AI revolution is going to be most devastating, onto parliamentary constituencies. And if the last wave of industrial change, the deindustrialization, brought us the Red Wall and all the problems we've seen, and reform doing so well up in the Midlands and the northeast of England, this one is going to the top constituencies affected this time round are places like Richmond Park, Hampstead and Highgate, Camden, all sorts of the, as it were, leafier, better off parts of London and the southeast. And if you think of the political revolution we have had caused by the post-Thatcher deindustrialization, and then think about the kind of political turbulence that's going to be caused when some of the best educated but also most skewered people in the country, that's young, articulate graduates who suddenly discover that not only have we taken away their possibility of having a house and a home, not only is dating and getting together made much harder by the online dating world, but also they're not going to get the job they hoped because of AI. Wait till they turn. Wait till they get angry. We ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, I think the jobs thing is fascinating because we're anecdotally, if you know somebody who's a recent graduate, you will hear stories about sending off 200, 300 job applications for entry-level jobs and entry-level jobs just not existing. Will, do you share Andrew's panic about this?
In a way, although I think if you look at today's employment statistics, where the big dent is not in white collar entry level, it's in retail and hospitality. So those jobs are down by 174,000, which is like, that's by far the biggest dent. And those are not really automatable jobs.
Well, beyond self-checkouts, which you've already got.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and like, I mean, until you have robots, I mean, you know, it's just that is just more a general slowing of the economy, meaning, you know, just lower consumer spending.
Places are closing and people are buying
minimum
less.
wage jobs being that are very much in person being trimmed out.
Is that not the difference between jobs going now and vacancies not being available for the next generation?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I think also that perhaps something I think also affects is sort of tied to this is, you know, business confidence and business investment and the number of vacancies might also be to a certain extent being explained by AI, even if they're not actually being caused by
AI becomes the villain and the hero in every part of political life.
Yeah. So I remember there were front page headlines a few years ago from I think it was a major telecoms company saying we are going to cut 10,000 jobs over the next 5 years because of AI. And there was no explanation from this company where, like, you know, the AI was going to do the work. It wasn't that they had developed a large language model or anything like that was going to suddenly replace all these people.
You think they were using it as an excuse?
What it really meant was we're planning to cut 10,000 jobs and we're going to blame it on AI. So I'm not saying that AI will not replace lots and lots of people. I do think some of the forecasts from the people like the Tony Blair Institute are maybe a bit explosive in terms of the number of jobs that they think are going to be lost as a result. But I think it's also, especially in an economy in this day, it's a real opportunity for companies to say, well, you know, there previously existed a contract between graduates and lots of companies whereby, you know, they would take lots of people on. People are expensive to retain, expensive to train, especially, you know, the more entry-level roles. But there was a contract that existed, I think, prior to the pandemic, where it's expected that people would, you know, take the benefit from that, but then also remain with companies for a long time. I think people have become less loyal to their employers as a result of the pandemic and the shift to home working and things like that. But also, I think you're seeing employers becoming less loyal to people. So the hiring levels for certain very specific jobs in things like corporate law and cybersecurity, there are still these amazing salaries on offer for people who are already well qualified for the right stuff.
But it's the entry-level rungs on the ladder that are going.
Yeah, and I think that is why you're hearing all of this anecdotal evidence of young, you know, people with really good degrees trying to get into the workplace and finding out that the roles that used to exist until fairly recently aren't there.
But it makes a lot of sense that the easily automated roles, the junior paralegals, for instance, are the roles that are easiest for AI to start to mop up. And an awful lot of people got into the law that way. And those doors are going to be closed. And I don't want to kind of succumb to sort of ancient anecdotage. But, you know, I've talked to people, for instance, in the television industry who've had big shoots cancelled. This is for advertising, where you're going to go and film somebody walking stripped to the waist through his orange grove in the south of Spain or whatever it might be. And it, you know, quite a few days' work for quite a few number of people. And I've seen a beautiful film of it, not made by him, but entirely automated and animated, created by AI.
Wow.
And so all over the place, you're seeing little bits of commercial opportunity closing because AI can do it so much more quickly. And so therefore, I'm afraid I would defer to Will in many things. I think this is really serious and really worrying.
Well, and of course, if it comes after the entry-level jobs, those people don't get the training that would then enable them to take the jobs on the next rung on the ladder.
There is another sort of counter-argument to that, which is car washes. Okay, so when the automatic car wash was invented, for a long time, you know, they were installed across the country, and, you know, in lots of other countries, they became really, really popular. But after a certain amount of time, they started to decline and they were removed again because it was found to be cheaper to go and get your car washed by some people who are probably
by illegal migrants.
Yes, for, you know, £5 a go rather than for £10 a go in the machine. And so a lot of AI companies, are losing money hand over fist because they are providing this technology, which is extremely expensive to provide, to try and get mass adoption. That may well work, and it may well have these enormous effects on the job market. That is a significant possibility. Another possibility is that
it's all hype.
People will find that it's too expensive to run, and it might actually end up being cheaper to employ people. That won't necessarily be great for people because they'll still try and pay people as little as possible. But the robot might be more expensive.